And his character grew, inch by rich inch, every time I visited. In the flick of a finger, the stretch of his neck, the jut of his chin, all of these thin slices of life, poised to merge if I became his wife. But then I had the dream, under a tented sheet, in an amber space, lit by his tender face. He'd grown a new beard, each tiny blonde-tipped spine sang through me divine as I pressed along the line of his jaw, soft, hard, soft. And then the natural law would apply. Kiss me, I asked, and it was as though he'd been tasked with solving the biggest problem in the world. Something quite simply died. Sorry, he replied. It's okay, I lied.
Almost, huh? Almost over. The last slammer we have is Hideto. Did I say it right? Hideto.
What makes a poet? Mastery of diction, articulation of thought, or charisma to arouse emotions? Nah. These qualities are both virtues and vices. Demagogues complicate words to obscure their evil intent, but poets carefully knit words together to get their most naked, complex truths. Honesty is what immunizes poets against the temptation to abuse the power of the word. And here I am, a clumsy poet with honesty. On stage, I seem passionate, courageous, eloquent, and inspirational, but nah. I'm just a coward who doesn't know how else to talk to you. Having a small talk with you alone needs me more courage than giving a TED talk to 1,000 audience. Though I've never done it, obviously. But before every performance, I try to come up with excuses to skip it, even tonight, because I'm afraid of the journey from my tiny room to this tiny stage. You see, swimming across the river of humans can seem a mission impossible for a timid hermit crab like me. Maybe I take friendship so seriously that I can't stand its awkward beginning. I'm still a little kid who would always stay behind my brother's back when his friends were inviting me to play with them. And this little introvert in me very easily settled in the language barrier. Every time I say simple phrases like, excuse me, I rehearse its enunciation at least 3 times in my head and still end up stuttering. But on stage I have no problem saying it, excuse me. When I come up with a joke, I often simply swallow it because I feel my English is not good enough to safely land it. And by the way, I don't have a phone because I cannot understand English over the phone, so what's the use of it? The truth is, even if I've been there and listening to myself perform this poem right now, I wouldn't understand the word I say. And yet, Beethoven was deaf when he composed the works that we call his greatest. And no flowers ever see themselves, but we call them beautiful. You see, alienation doesn't take from us our ability to connect. And my words become poetry when you receive and embrace them dearly. And I know you will do so as long as I stay honest. So if you ever feel like me, please give me your honesty. Then I'll make a poet out of you. Let me listen to you, to your story, to your non-story, to your each word, each breath, each silence, and each honesty. Again and again and again and again, in case I don't understand you one go.
That was amazing. I'm going to read all the names one more time. We have had Prerna Kumar, keep clapping, Francesca Georgia, Greg Perry, Hideto Akasu, Drew Singh, Caroline Fox, Maria Ginadine, Cora Wren, Lucy Pickens, David Mellon, Jerry Clarkson, and Jess Joe. I mean, our poet gave everything. It's like, as Picasso said, the meaning of life is to find your gift. And the purpose of it is to give it away. Poetry is a response, and what's the point of it without responsibility? Poets shouldn't be intimidated, not only to use words, but also taking actions for the causes to believe in. One might get choked in throat, get smashed beer bottle in head, or have this 9 mm diameter dots. These weren't supposed to be dark, but that's what happens when gunpowder residue remains in a bullet wound. This is our manifesto. We will stand up to all sorts of injustice we see happening around us. One can hate us as much as they want, but they won't hate us enough to shoot in the back. But then, this is our ethical fight. One cannot lecture about standing up to bullying unless they do it on the street, right? Thank you. Have a good night. We're going to have a 10-minute break, all the results, and we're going to come back. Thank you.
Thank you.